I've definitely got one of the biggest toy collections in England, one of the biggest retro toy collections in England. My name's Theo Cane, I'm an artist and a filmmaker from Sheffield, and I've turned my entire house into my own personal retro toy museum. So you could say that I've kind of dedicated my life to toys, because not only am I a big retro toy collector, I'm also a toy designer, and I also travel the world looking for cool and interesting toys for my collection. Soon as you step into my house, when you walk into the kitchen, I've got a huge display there which I call the tip of the iceberg, because it's a big display but it just kind of prepares people for the toy display room that's upstairs. I've also got my lounge with tons of DVDs. That's where myself and my friends will watch movies and stuff like that. That's more of a dedicated movie space, but there's toys in there. And then if you head upstairs, I've got an old Wildcat bike on the wall. I'm big into old 80s retro BMXs and stuff like that, so I've got lots of movie posters and toys dotted around. And then of course I've got this room which is my office, where I do all my work and my designing and my film editing, but as you can see it's also very much a toy museum. So this room is my office. It's where I do all my designing, my drawing, my 3D printing, my video editing, all this different stuff that I do, and I like to be constantly surrounded by the cool retro colours, and I'm very much into the artistry of these toys. It's never been about the value of them for me, it's always been about who designed them and how they were designed, the look and the feel that they give me. So I can draw inspiration from the colouring on a toy's card, and I like the purple and the green and the blue, how it works, and I can bring that into a piece of art that I'm working on or a toy. I moved into this house about 10 years ago now, and one of the first things I did when I moved in, before I sorted out my kitchen or my bedroom or my living space, anything like that, was just get my toy room all set up, because I'd had my toys in storage for a long time. So I like lots of different toys. I like toys on the card, I like toys loose, but my main passion is 80s toys. So I've got a lot of Ninja Turtles, He-Man, Thundercats, all the classics, but I also enjoy more obscure lines like Mad Bulls and Toxic Crusaders, Power Lords and Rock Lords and Battle Beasts, and things that are not as run-of-the-mill as the standard toys that you'd think of when you think of retro toys. I've been doing this for such a long time that a lot of those classic lines I've enjoyed for many years, and even 10 years ago that's when I started looking for even more obscure stuff. So if you look around this room, there's lots of classic toys, but there's also lots of more obscure ones. One of my oldest toys, and also one of my favourite toys, is the Great Garloo. It's from 1961, it was made by Marx. It's a giant mechanical monster and I love it. I picked that up in a toy hunting trip in Tokyo. It takes pride place on my shelf and it's definitely one of my favourite pieces. I was raised around car boots and market stalls, so from the point that I was knee high, I was out picking up action figures and stuff like that, and then that goes hand in hand with the fact that as an adult now, I don't like to pay a lot of money for this stuff. It's toys, I think everyone should be able to enjoy it, and I'm very much a part of thrifting and car booting and that kind of toy hunting. So a lot of this collection I've had a long time, and now if there's a particular item that I'm after, and there's lots of things that I'm still after, I always like to wait it out and get it for the right price rather than go on eBay and buy it for a ridiculous amount. My collection has very much been something that I've bought all for prices that I'm happy with, and I've never overpaid for anything, in my opinion. I would like to say I've easily got one of the biggest retro action figure collections in England. I don't know how many figures I've got. If I was to throw a number out there, I'd say maybe 5,000 pieces from big to small, but I've never counted them, so it's pretty impossible to say overall. Collecting to me is something that's very important, and because I love the artistry and the creation of these toys, I think to me that they're as important to protect and keep displayed as something that's old in a museum. I think they're a huge part of our history, and they're very much a disposable item. Kids get bought toys and within a few years they're bored of them, they go to charity shops, they get thrown away and they get disposed of, things like that. So I think it's important to look after them and keep them, and I very much think that they're one of the best types of art ever created, and I like to celebrate that. For years I've been a toy collector, and I've almost become like a Wikipedia of toy knowledge. So I've spent years researching toys, and it's nice to know that it wasn't all in vain, as now I'm actually a toy designer. I'm an illustrator and I work a lot in toy design, almost to the point that it's my main income now. And this is one of my favourite pieces that I created along with a company called Nima Studios called Deflatron, and this is kind of sums up everything that I like about toys. It's a homage to old 80s toys, and it's almost got like it's also got a nice contemporary twist on it as well. So that is kind of like the cultivation of all the toy love I've had for all these years, all in one piece there. Coming from a working class background and environment, it's very rare that you're able to step out of that world. I spent many years doing jobs that I really hated, and it took me a long time to be able to create a life that I actually enjoyed and was able to make money from doing what I love, and hopefully I'll be able to keep doing this and keep doing it forever.